Hello. Okay, so to make sure I clicked a button and I don't know if I actually initiated my stream right. If I did, please say hi. For today, I was like, I'm gonna press the button that says start broadcast to figure out if I'm like, wait, everything reset. Am I streaming? Hello? Tell me hi if you hear me streaming. I'm starting off scuff today after a long hiatus. Let's see. Yay! Okay, I've started officially stream, so I'm back from a small hiatus because I haven't streamed in a little bit, and I'm back from offkai, which is super fun. Um, it was pretty fun. I've been there, so this is my third year going to offkai. I went to. Nice to meet you back. I'm gonna kill you. In Minecraft. Um. I was like, I had the thought process too fast. Um, so, but no, yeah, this is my third year going to offkai, and it was super fun. So the first year I only went to see Lazulite because, in game, it only happened in game. So the first year I went to offkai, I saw like a post I think from Nijisanji being like, oh, Lazulite is going to be at offkai this year, and I was like, what's offkai? And I'm like, it's probably a convention that's gonna be super far away from me and all this kind of stuff. And then they were like, oh, it's gonna be in some place pretty close to you kind of thing. And I was like, oh my god, like, so it was close enough where I was able to just go for the day. And I got to see like Lazulite like live, and I don't know, for me that's kind of like a low-key a core memory. Like, I don't know, just the whole experience was great. Like the actual convention kind of was like, it was their first year, right? So there's not like anything crazy, but yeah, the game has a lot of little boops and bops, little. It's I love this game. Like if I ever get really sad, sometimes I'll play it just to kind of like just to hear the boops and the bops. And I love the little tiny details, like how the bricks fall, and eventually like birds land on here. And if I like take away the birds, like fly away. If I add on to it, they'll eventually like. Sometimes they fly back and then they'll land, like they'll perch on it, which I think is kind of cool. Like, yeah, see, look, they flew back. So I think it's a really cool game or pretty cool thing about this game. Like the little tiny details are in it. And then the homes can get really intricate too. So I'll try to see if I can build some like intricate homes. But yeah, seeing Lazulite live, my first year at offkai really was like, kind of a core memory, and it kind of really solidified the idea of like I want to be a VTuber, which is like, I don't know, I was inspired by Kizuna Ai, to be honest, to be a VTuber, and so I kind of got into VTubers through her, but I never had like I always had the idea of like, oh, I want to be a VTuber, but it never really like hit me until I kind of went to like watch them live, and I was like, oh yeah, like I really do want to be a VTuber. Like I want to put the effort in, and so it's just like a fun memory I like to look back on and everything, and how crazy the fans were and stuff like that. Like watching people like twerk live to Diamond City Lights was crazy. Like, and being a part of the Jean Sophia chat and everything, like it was just wild. Like it was I don't know, it was good. It was a good memory for me. And then I went last year to offkai as well, and I think last year's amount of like people who were there was like the perfect amount, because like the lines weren't crazy long. There was enough like people around where like it was still crowded. And it was just nice, it was fun. I interacted with a lot of people because me and my friend that we went with, we were obsessed with collecting all the ribbons. And so we went around the convention literally just asking people, where'd you get that ribbon? How do you get that ribbon? Who'd you get that from? Or we've been looking for this one. Like, how'd you find it? We were just obsessed with it. And it was a little bit of a problem, but we kind of met a lot of people like that. We ended up like talking to a lot of people and having fun, and what do you mean bruh? What are you bruh-ing? I'm talking about how much fun I had, and you're talking about you say bruh. Anyways, we had a lot of fun. There was okay. There was something that happened. You were gone. I was not gone for like 2 years. It was like 3 weeks, maybe. I've been here lurking in my own channel. Don't worry. I've been here. I've stared at my channel. I just haven't clicked the live button. I've been here. But yeah. Anyway, so there was okay. I'm gonna tell you guys a story of when I was at offkai. So for context, honey, because I know you probably don't know what offkai is. Offkai is a VTuber convention that I went to, and it's a convention for VTubers. It's for people who like VTubers, who are VTubers. That whole thing, right? So this is my third year going, because yeah, my third year going, because there was other conventions or other conventions of offkai that happened like the last 2 years. And so last year, funny story, um I went to so me and my friend were going through the vendor hall, and then we see there's like this vendor selling these like kind of like Capri Sun kind of bags. You went to see revealing. Oh my god, no, but other people did. It looks dumb, but I'm not gonna lie, that's just how VTuber concert looks like. Like it's really, I mean, at offkai sometimes they make like live appearances. Like I know last year this one VTuber named Numi, she did her whole concert like IRL, like she was there and everything, like dancing and singing and all that kind of stuff. And some other times they're just the models going like, like let me try to reenact it real quick if I can. Like sometimes it's just the models going like Anata wa kara da 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 da. Oh wait, wrong toggle. This toggle? Wrong toggle. This one? This one? This one. And then they're flipping their hair back and forth. But yeah, that's just how the VTuber concerts are. They just like flip their hair, But yeah. But yeah, so last year there was this vendor selling these like Capri Sun type of like bags. Kind of like where you put the straw on the top, but they're like plastic little baggies. And on the bags it said like different things. There were like, so some of them were like, I fucked at offkai, or my Oshi's tears. And Oshi is like your number one, like it's kind of like the stan for like K-pop, kind of like, oh, I stand this person or whatever, or this is my bias or whatever it is. It's kind of the same thing, but it's called Oshi for VTubers. And so some of them were like my Oshi's tears, and some other were like my Oshi's piss. And it was just crazy bags, right? And so me and my friend were like asking the vendor about it, and she was just like, don't you ... me. So we're asking the vendor about it, and she was like, oh yeah, these are kind of like my most popular like product right now. And so my friend convinced me to buy the Oshi piss one, and I think we bought two of them. I think we bought the Oshi piss and and the I think it was I fucked that offkai or something. And so we ended up going to a party later, because at offkai there's like a lot of parties, and one of them was like a Niji Sanji themed party. And I forgot what one of the drinks was that was served. It was like a something sunrise. So it was served with like orange juice, and I forgot what else. Some like red. Yeah, they did. I didn't want to. Okay, I'm serious. I did not want to buy it originally, because I was like, I don't want to have an Oshi piss bag like that. I didn't want to get it, but they convinced me. They were like, no, it's gonna be funny. You should get it. Like, and I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, low key, it ended up making me pretty popular, because so I forgot, I think it was like a tequila sunrise, but I asked for a virgin, right? Because I was like, I'm not gonna drink, I just want like the orange juice, because I thought it was gonna be super funny putting the orange juice. And there's like is it Bernadine? I forgot what the other drink is called. It's it's like a red kind of like syrup that you can put in the drink. I don't know what it's called. I don't drink, so I don't know the label to it, whatever, right? But so pretty much what it ended up looking like is the top part of the bag was like orangey yellow because of orange juice, and the bottom part of the bag was red. and I was drinking it out of my Oshi's out of my Oshi's piss bag. And so I went to the party with like drinking this, right? And I got stopped so much, and so many people were like, "Oh my god, like your Oshi needs to go to the hospital. They have something wrong with their kidneys. They're dying. They have like liver failure, like all this kind of stuff, right?" Like it was so funny, and and it was just like the highlight, right? Some guy ended up taking a picture of it and being like, "You can keep this picture. It's a good picture." And it was like a Polaroid. I was so happy I kept it. And then at some point, eventually, we're like, "Okay, we have enough. Like, we've had enough fun. We just want to go back to the hotel, like, relax and everything." And then, as we're passing by, because there's a ton of parties on the second floor, and and there's a lot of like, there's really long lines to get into some of these parties. So as we're walking out of the one party, we passed by a bunch of like other people waiting in line for like a new part for like a different party. And these guys were like standing in front of it, and one of them was cosplaying Suisse from Hololive. And he looks at my drink, at my little pouch that says my Oshi's piss, you know, with the orange juice in it and everything. And he goes, "Whoa, guys!" And he's like, "Can I borrow this?" And I was like, "Sure," right? So I give him the bag, and him and his friends are having a massive photo shoot with this. Like, they start like taking a ton of pictures with their Oshi's piss, and thankfully they didn't drink anything out of it, right? But they were just like, I don't know, they just had a whole photo shoot, and eventually they just gave it back, right? And we just went back to our hotel, and that was kind of like how we spent like that day, like at the parties and everything. And yeah, so that's like so that's one thing that happened to me last year. And then this year, I mean, this year I didn't do anything like that. I didn't do anything embarrassing, right, or anything, but so this year so there's a keyboard meetup that happened this year. So everyone brought all their keyboards, all their expensive things, and me and my friend have like a decent amount of keyboards, like kind of expensive ones. So like right now, so my usual keyboard that I use at home is the Kit Atom that you can get. So it's like a Lego type of keyboard, and but I don't want to use that one anymore. So I'm using a different keyboard. It's the QK100 base with I'm trying to remember. It's QK100 with momentum switches and the Soy Boy keycap set. So this kind of, and it has an internal weight. Do you want to hear? Let me see if I can do some keyboard ASMR. Tell me if you guys can hear this real quick. Could you guys hear that? I was trying to go like real slow so you guys can hear it. I don't know if you guys heard it or not. But yeah, so these switches were kind of hard to find. So these switches we got accidentally. What had happened was me and my friend, we had ordered a keyboard, and it happened to come with these switches, and we're like, "Oh my god, this switch sounds like so nice," but like we couldn't figure out what they were called, what they were. We couldn't find like where to buy them, so we just kind of assumed they came with the keyboard. And then it turns out it did not. It was not supposed to come with the keyboard. They were unreleased switches that we were able to somehow get with this keyboard. And so we got really lucky. And then I just kind of put them into my set. And so now I think it sounds really nice. I used this keyboard for work for a while, and then I got a different keyboard. So then I got the Zoom 98, and I have Marandi switches in those with MOA shaped like keycaps. I forgot what the keycaps were called specifically, but like the MOA shaped keycaps are like the really cute ones that you typically see with like super round edges, and they're super flat. I love that one. That one's so, it's my cleanest keyboard, I would say. But yeah, so anyways, so we ended up like when we got to the con, we were kind of like, okay, well, we're waiting in line now. What are we supposed to do? And since there was a keyboard meetup, we had brought all of our keyboards. So like my friend had brought his keyboard. I brought like all three of my keyboards: the QK100, the Zoom 98, and the Kit Atom one. And I left the other two keyboards in the hotel, so the most expensive ones, and I brought the Kit Atom with me. And the Kit Atom is like super light because we had like Legos, right? And so we're in line and we're just waiting, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I want to do something, I just don't know what to do. So my friend was like, hey, let's just he was like, let's just ask people to like type on our keyboard. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. He's like, just start asking people, it's gonna be fun, trust me. And I'm like, I don't know. And so then he like turns around and he like asks these people like, hey, do you want to like type on this keyboard? And some people are like, oh my god, yeah, sure, it's so cool. And some other people are like, sure. And they like type, like they literally just tap one key and they're like, nice, you know, like, so there you can tell kind of who's like into keyboards and who wasn't. And then eventually we got in line, or no, sorry, we were already in line, but eventually we got to a point in the line because the line kind of like is like making a snake shape, like a little S wiggle kind of thing, where we see this guy who has a keyboard strapped like across his chest, and he has a sign saying like wanna touch my keyboard or something like that. I think it was wanna like type on my keyboard. And we're like, whoa, like if we type on your keyboard, are you gonna type on our keyboard? And he was like, oh, that's so cool, right? So we just started talking about like keyboards and everything. And so we ended up seeing a lot of him around the con, and he was like a cool guy. We were like, we kept bumping into each other, and every time we talked, it was all about keyboards. Like we just talked about like the keyboards we had been seeing, the ones that people are bringing, like stuff like that. It wasn't until later that we found out that the guy we were talking to is like same guy who, I might be wrong, but who made, I think, a Doki bird. So they were touching each other. They weren't touching each other. They were just typing on each other's keyboard. Yeah, we're typing each other. Oh, I'm like, oh my god, I can't talk. We were typing on each other's keyboards. And yeah, so we found out that the guy we were talking to like all weekend is a guy who actually worked with Doki Bird. And like he worked with her to like make her like keycap set and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool. Like we didn't know he was like a thing, like an important figure kind of thing, until someone at the keyboard meet was like, oh my god, I can't believe it's oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. I'll see if I can like link his name somewhere later. But they were like, oh my god, I can't believe like so and so is here, like so crazy. And we were like, who? And the guy we're talking to was like, that guy over there, and he pointed to the guy we've been talking to all weekend. And we're like, oh shit, like we've been talking to this guy like the whole weekend. But yeah, and then honestly, I kind of met a couple people that I don't want to say they're like famous, right? But like at least in the VTuber community, they're like pretty big. So actually no, one kind of famous person we met was Scara. And I could have been famous. But I did meet Scara, like the pro league player, like the pro retired league player. It was kind of weird because we're just like at this point we're just kind of asking a bunch of people to like type on our keyboard for fun, and then all of a sudden my friend stops and he goes, oh, that's Scara, like really loud, and I'm like, no way Scara's here at a VTuber convention, like why would Scara be here, right? And he goes, no, it's Scara. He's like, and I look over and it was fucking Scara. He was like right there. I was like, no way, like the Scara is here. And so we kind of like literally did a U-turn, like totally whipped over, and we walked over to him, and my friend goes, do you want to type on our keyboard? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so he starts typing on our keyboard, and then he like pulls out his, yeah, it was fucking Scara that was there at the convention. Like I didn't want to ask for a picture with him, but I literally tweeted out like, Scara just typed on my keyboard. So he was there. And I have a video like of him like in the background too and everything. But yeah, so he types on our keyboard and he's like, oh, that's cool. Like he's like, I had a keyboard like go viral recently. And we're like, oh yeah, well, what'd you do? Or, like, what is it? And he showed us a video of him like literally washing, like with water and soap, like washing his keyboard, and it was so painful. I was like, what the fuck? And so yeah, we kind of like just chit chat for like a little bit about keyboards. No, he's low key kind of bald now, to be honest. He's like pretty. He was a little sweaty too when we met him because we were on the second floor, and that's where like the most people were crowded, and the venue that we're at kind of has like a bunch of sunlight that comes through, so it was like kind of hot. So he was like a little bald and a little sweaty, but you know it's still Scara. Like respect to the man, right? Like it was crazy. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe he's like here. And but yeah, so we talked with Scara for a little bit. He was cool. He was really nice. Really like I really like talking to him. And then we met some other people. So we just through asking people to touch our keyboard, we just kind of like met a bunch of people. Like we were in I think the vendor hall. And then we go up to this like group of people, and again we were like, hey, do you want to type on our keyboard? And and so it's like I think like two girls and a guy or something. I forgot what it was, right? So it was something like that. They start typing on our keyboard, and then I look over to the guy, and he has like a mask on, so I can't really like see his whole face. And I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, he looks so familiar, but I can't really place it. But he just looked familiar, and he had like in my head, I'm just like, I know him from somewhere. I just don't know what it is. And I was trying to figure out the best way to say like, hey, do I know you? But I didn't want to give off the feeling of like I knew him personally, because I know I didn't know him personally. I just knew him from somewhere, and so I just didn't know how to word it specifically to be like, oh, you seem like you have a very familiar face kind of thing. And as I'm trying to figure out like how to say it, I say it in like the worst way possible, and I literally walked away like almost on the verge of tears because how I worded it. It was so bad. I literally look at this guy and I'm like I look at this guy dead in the eye, and I'm just like, are you somebody or are you just like another person? Oh my god, it was so bad. The moment it left my mouth, I was like, oh, that sounded so rude. Like I just fucked up. Like it was so bad. And he like looks at me and he goes like, no, I'm blank, he tells me his name, and I'm like, oh, and I thought for a second like maybe I did like mistake him, like maybe he wasn't actually like a known figure or something. So I was about to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, and then but then he goes, no, I'm actually he's like I'm actually oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Domo, there we go. He's like, I'm Domo. And Domo in the VTuber community is kind of well known because he's like a big interviewee kind of guy who like or interviewer kind of guy who goes around to a lot of indie like VTubers and interviews them and stuff like that. And so I haven't kept up with him in a while, but I know when I kept up with him before, like that's what he did. He would just interview a lot of people, and he was also like the main host for Offkai the first year, and I'm maybe the second year too. But like I knew his face and I remembered him because I remember he did the Q&A part for the Lazulite concert at Offkai, and he has a really familiar voice too. And so I was like, oh my god, like, and I told him like, oh yeah, like, I'm a fan of your stuff, and everything, and we just kind of talked a little bit, and so we had like a real quick like small little conversation of like, oh cool, your work's really cool, like stuff like that. And then I kind of go like, oh, by the way, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to be rude, like I didn't mean to like say it how I said it, like I didn't mean to say like, are you somebody? Because like that just came up so rude. And he go and oh fuck, I forgot what he says. He goes like, he's like, oh no man, I totally get it, like, but kind of like in a sarcastic, like playful kind of way. And then the friends that he was with were like, yeah, are you somebody, like mocking him, right, like making fun of him. And even my friend who was there goes like, he's like, are you even a person? And it just kind of became like a joke, but I was still like, I was sweating bullets. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I said that to Domo, like that's just so rude, but thankfully they like laughed it off, like it was like a little joke and everything, like they get it and everything. So yeah, so we immediately left the vendors hall like right after that, and I was just like, oh my god, like I was really like, my face felt so hot, and I was just like, I can't believe I said like that, it's so rude. And yeah, so that was like one interaction that I had, and I don't know what comes over me when I meet people that like I really like idolize or really like enjoy. Like something comes over me, like I get possessed by a person who has not spoken to another human being for like the last like 30 years. Like I lose all my social skills and like everything just goes out the window, and it's just awful. And there was another point where um I like go, so I see these two guys at the con, and I'm just like, they look really familiar too, and I think I know who they were. Um and I had a feeling there was Rikami and Sens, who are also like, in case you guys don't know, they're like also pretty big figures in the VTuber community. Um and I looked at them, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's them, and I know that they did say they were gonna attend like offkai. Um but I couldn't like quite place it. And then I didn't get a chance to like go up to them or say like go up to them or say hi or anything in the moment. And so I was thinking, oh well, if it is them, I'll probably end up seeing them again eventually, like later, right? And then later into the night, like I see them again, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go up right now. Right now, it's a good chance for me to say hi to them. Like if it is who I think it is, right? So I go up to them, and all of a sudden I get so nervous. Like I start feeling like I have like cold feet or something, right? And I get so nervous, and I walk up, and Rikami is like, he is massive. Like he is super super tall. Like um. Yeah, Slay, I'm your Oshi, right? You're my number one fan, right? um, but Rikami is like, he's really tall. Like I think I was almost so I'm kind of short. I'm 4 anyways. So I'm 4'10ish, 4'11ish. And I forgot how much I am in like centimeters and everything, right? But that's how I am in how tall I am in freedom units, you know. And so I'm not 3'7". I'm not that short. I I am slightly average for my height. Okay. Um, is it 125 centimeters? I feel like that's too short, but I don't know enough to debate that. But yeah, Rikami was like, he was really tall. Like he was, I don't know, maybe like he was for sure over 6 feet. And because I've been around like 6 foot tall people, but he was like taller than them. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like a small little ant next to him. I was like, man, this guy's massive. And then him being next to Sens too. Like Sens is like an average height guy. It kind of just like, he looked really short compared to like, is that my height 100%? Actually 125 centimeters. I feel like actually more like 160 or something. But yeah, so I kind of see them, and I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna go up to them and say like hi. See, I'm gonna like see if it actually is them. And so I walk up to them, and I'm like, and I kind of yell out like, kind of like, excuse me, you know. I felt like I was like a little ant, like yelling at the top of my lungs for him to hear me, like Rikami. And then he like turns around, he's like, oh yeah, and I'm just like and I asked him like, are you Rikami and Sens? And they were like, yeah, like kind of in like a way of like, I don't know, like they kind of said it in like a way of like, what about it kind of thing. And I got really nervous because I was like, oh my god, I think I'm like interrupting them, like talking to people, or like not talking to people because they weren't actively talking to anyone in the moment, but they were like with I think a good group of friends. So I had a feeling, oh my god, like if I'm like, I wonder if I'm like interrupting their like social time, like, you know. And I just felt like really awkward and kind of like, oh my god, like it was just bad, right? And so I was like, oh, like, you know, I just so I asked him like, are you like, I don't ask. I'm just like, oh well, I just wanted to say hi, like, you know, and this and that and everything. And I forgot how I said it, but I just remember starting to get so nervous and like sweating, and I basically was just like, yeah, I just wanted to say hi. And then it was like an awkward moment where I was kind of like trying to turn away and say like, okay, bye, kind of thing, right? But I guess I took a little too long to turn away and say bye, because then like Rikami says something. He says, I don't hear what he says because he's wearing a mask and it's kind of loud, and he's also like fucking tall, so I can't hear him. And so I go, oh, what'd you say? And he like leans down, like like leans all the way down, and he goes, did you need something? And I'm kind of like, oh my god, this is awkward because I stuck around for too long, and now it seems like, I don't know. It just seems, I felt so awkward, and I felt bad because I was making it so awkward. And I was like, oh no, I just wanted to say hi. And they were like, okay, well, hi. And I was like, hi. And I walked away like almost crying, and I was like, I can't believe I embarrassed myself in front of them. Like, it was so bad. And my friend was like, no, you're fine. And I was just like, hell no, I'm not gonna ask for a kiss. They would have like kicked me or something. But no, yeah, so I feel like I just like totally embarrassed myself in that moment. It was like so bad. He really did like lower himself to my height to be like, did you need something? Oh my god, I don't know. I cringe thinking about it. Like, oh my god. But yeah, so that's kind of how it was like meeting like the both of them. They're really cool though. Like they weren't mean or anything. I just think I just caught them at like a bad time where it was like really awkward, and I don't know. I was kind of like kicking myself like, oh my god. But yeah, I'm trying to think who else I met. Oh, I did meet Shu, not like Shu Yamino from Nijisanji, but Shu. I think their full name is Shu Sakurai. And I've known this artist for like a while. So they're an artist, a VTuber, and a VTube model like person. They've also like rigged before, and I've known about them for a while, and I followed them for a bit. And they opened up their commissions like not too long ago for like models and stuff. And I like for a long time was like, oh, I would love to get models done by Shu. Like, they have like a really good art style. I ended up not going with them just because I thought it was a little pricey. Because like my current model could have been a different model, but it wasn't, just because this artist was having a good deal at the time. So I got like a little cheaper, right? And so I ended up seeing him, and I was kind of like, I wonder if that's him, because he's wearing a Scaramouche cosplay, and I know Shu has worn a Scaramouche cosplay, because he's like posted about it before. And I was like, telling my roommate, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if I should go up to say like hi to him. And he's like, well, if it's him, you know, like you should go up to say hi, right? And I was like, okay, well, I'll try, right? So I went up to him, and I was like, oh, excuse me, are you like Shu by chance? And he was like, oh yeah, I am. And I'm just like, oh my god, like, you know, like, hi, like, nice to meet you. Like I've looked up to your art style and everything for like a while. I've like watched your streams, and oh no, actually no, I didn't say watch your streams. I was like, oh, I've like watched you for a bit and everything, and I'm like happy to see that you were like, you're at the convention and everything. And they're like, oh yeah, like how'd you end up finding out about me? And I was like, oh well, through like through your art and on Twitch and everything. And they're like, oh cool. And so I forgot what else they said, but we kind of had like a nice little like conversation, like a very small conversation, right? And I kind of just told them like, oh yeah, no, I love your art style, and I was even thinking about getting like my model like done by you and like doing commission and like all that kind of stuff. And I gave him my business card because I made little business cards to pass around because I was like, in case, right, it's a VTuber convention, who knows, right? Like, and in case anyone wants to like see what I'm about, right? I don't have enough money to make Kumo merch. I think I would have been poor if I made merch. But I did have my business card, right? So I gave him my business card, and I'm like, you don't have to follow, and I didn't give him my business card with the intention to like tell him to follow me or anything. It was more for like, because my model is on the card. So I was like, oh, like this is my like business card if you want to see. And they're like, oh, like your model is really cute, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, it was just like a little conversation, right? So, and he was like right about to eat when I was like talking to him, because I think they had just ordered food or something. So I was like, oh, I'll let you get back to, you know, like enjoying the con and everything and stuff like that. So, you know, that was like a nice little like small conversation we had and stuff. And it was nice because I was like, man, I didn't think I would meet like so many VTubers, and I did, which is funny because like it's a VTuber convention. Of course you're gonna meet VTubers, right? But I was still kind of like, oh my god, I met VTubers, right? And I don't know, it was I had good moments and I had really awkward fucking moments where I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna kick not kill, I'm gonna kick myself later. Like, and I literally went back to the hotel and I like sent a voice message to my best friend being like, I'm so fucking awkward. Like, I can't talk to people. Um, but yeah, so um, we just kind of went around and then also like going back to the keyboard stuff, right? Because literally like the whole con, I think except maybe most of Sunday, but for the most part, like the whole con, um, me and my friend just kept going around asking people like, hey, do you want to type on our keyboard? Um, and you know, like a lot of people did want to type on our keyboard. Um, and at some point, like people start asking us um, like, oh, do you have a business card? And I'd be like, oh, well, I do, but it's for my VTuber stuff. Or they'd be like, hey, do you do commissions? Or, oh, are you a vendor? Like, they started asking us a lot of those questions, like, oh, do you sell these? Like, do you have any more of these in stock? Like, stuff like that. And I kept telling them, like, oh, no, we're not vendors or anything. We're just here, like, we're just hobbyists, you know, we just like having keyboards, right? Um, and some people were like, oh, I'll commission you for like a keyboard and other stuff like that. And so yeah, so like some people added me on Discord so they can like commission me for a keyboard. And some other people were like I just told them like, oh well, if you guys need a keyboard, like let me know. I could build one for you guys, you know. So I went in trying to promote myself as a VTuber, and I came out promoting myself as like a keyboard maker, um, which is funny. Like I did not mean to advertise myself in that way, but I guess I did. Um, so yeah, so um, you know, I don't know if anyone actually like people. Some people did follow me, and they did like some of the keyboard stuff that I had posted. Um, but I'm like, oh, I think I gave them the wrong impression. Like I don't do much with keyboards. At least not like, you know, on my account or anything. But my friends start telling me like, oh, you have to start posting like keyboard ASMR. Like, you have to start getting into that. So maybe I'll post like a keyboard ASMR soon or something. Um, but yeah, it was just funny. And then going to like, yeah, keyboard making, like, you know, like buying the base, building it all together, putting the switches in, the keycaps on, you know, like the whole custom thing and everything. Um, oh, so your Wi-Fi died. I'm not gonna repeat myself. No, just kidding. No, I will. Yeah, because since we're carrying around the keyboards, like the whole con, people started thinking that we were like keyboard vendors, and then we sold keyboards. Um, I'm posting on Twitter, so on my Twitter I have like some pictures of like keyboards and stuff. I only have like I think two pictures of my keyboards. I have one. I have my cloud keyboard that's the Zoom 98 on it, and then I have the other picture, the one that Scara typed on. I have the other picture on there too. But yeah, so people are just like asking us like, oh, like, can we commission you, like this and that. We had this one. Funny enough, we had this like this lady and guy who kept coming up to us, and we just kind of like kept bumping into each other like on accident, right? And I guess they build like PCs and stuff and they sell them, and they're like, oh my god, yeah, like you should totally like build a keyboard and we can build you a PC, and then now we just need someone to build a mouse. And it was kind of funny, right? And literally every single time we bumped into them, almost every time I had a different keyboard on me, so I had three, and they would just come up, take a picture with the keyboard real quick, and then walk away. And I just thought that was funny, like like they were like, hey, can we get a picture with your keyboard? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then take a picture and then walk away. I don't know if they posted those pictures anywhere. It was just funny. Like, I was just like, what are you guys doing? um but yeah, I'm trying to think what else. So we just spent most of the con like kind of walking around with like the keyboard. Um and then I was like, okay, because on the first day we brought just one keyboard. It was just a small like Suisse Lego like Kit Adam keyboard. And then on I think Saturday we brought like the I think it was I don't remember if we had brought both keyboards or just one of them. We had brought I think it was the Zoom 98. And like, okay, so like the Zoom 98 and the QK100 are really heavy keyboards that are like, they have like an internal, so the QK100 has an internal weight and the Zoom 98 has an external weight. um so I think the QK, or not, sorry, I think the Zoom 98 is like a lot heavier. I think that one's a good, maybe like, I want to say at most 10 pounds. But I might be exaggerating, but it's a pretty hefty keyboard. Like, a lot of people, the most common like thing I got when people held the keyboard was like, you can kill someone with this, because it's like made out of like super strong metal. It's really heavy, like, you know. And so carrying around like these heavy keyboards, like, we got so tired. At least I got so tired so fast. Like, oh, I was exhausted. I literally was like, I got back to the hotel and I was like so close to passing out. I was like, no, I still have the rest of the day. I can't go to sleep. And I was just like so exhausted. And then on Friday, we couldn't get into the vendors hall because the line was like massive. The line literally like circled around the hotel, I think, like, or the venue, I think, like a good like one or two times. Like, it was a long line, and they eventually capped it. They were like, okay, no more people can get in line. And I was like kind of like mad. I was like, what do you mean we can't get in line? Like, I want to go in the vendors hall, right? And then the next day we're like, okay, we're gonna go to the vendors hall like super early. And they had told us to get there like at least 2 hours ahead, but I was like, oh, I don't know if, like, maybe 2 hours is a good time, but also I feel like we should be fine with like less than 2 hours. So we had breakfast and then we went back to the con, and the line to get into the vendors hall was already out the door. And I was so like, oh, maybe we should have got here 2 hours early. But it was so cold. Like, Burlingame SF area, like, it is so fucking cold. And like, I know that area is known to be really cold because like the ocean there, like, you know, they're in a peninsula, right? So the ocean is just freezing and they're surrounded by all the cold air, right? But it was so cold. I was just not ready for it. So we're outside like freezing. And thankfully after like an hour of waiting, like, we were able to go in. So I think we waited for like a good hour, and like for that hour we're like holding the keyboards and everything. And so yeah, we were just tired. It was very tired. Like, I got home yesterday and I was exhausted. And then like, I think honestly I should have gone to bed at 8, but I didn't. I was like staying up a little, and I think by 10 I had like officially knocked out. I was super tired. I woke up today like so close to calling off work. I was like so close to calling our HR and being like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go to work, I'm not feeling well. But I just got on vacation, so I felt bad saying I can't go to work, because I know they would be like, you're just trying not to go to work, you know. And like, low key I am trying not to go to work, but at the same time, like, I genuinely was so tired. I genuinely was like, I just need more rest. Like, I just need to sleep, I need to relax more. And I'm trying to think what else. There was like some people, okay. So at the con, and I think it's kind of expected, I think a lot of people wouldn't find this surprising, but there were like a lot of people who smelled really bad. So like, I've been to plenty of like anime conventions before, and some of the cons have like people smelling a little bad, but this con I think is the first convention where I've like literally actively been like, oh, who smells like that? Like, I literally, like, I think a good our first hour of being at the convention, there was a guy who's like really tall and lanky and like looked like kind of like your average like indoor weeb kind of guy. Like, he only spends his whole day like gaming and everything. He like sneezed, and you can tell it's like a really snotty sneeze. And then he sneezed in his hand. First of all, he sneezed in his hand, and then he wipes it across his arm, like his other arm. And it was so disgusting. I literally was like, I looked at my friend and I was like, did you see that? Did you see that? It was disgusting. And I think that kind of set the tone for like the con, because I mean, like, not everyone was like that, right? Like, there was like a good amount of people who like, oh, they did keep up good hygiene, but there was also a good amount of people who just did not. like we had a run through like a crowd at one point for something. I forgot what it was, but we're in a rush for something, right? And we ended up running through like the Phase Connect section, and I don't know how long it's been since like those guys had showered, but there was like a group of guys that we had ran by, and I just like took like one whiff, and I was like, oh, like, I literally made like, you know that SpongeBob meme where it's like the guy who like, I think it's the lady who like smells him and dies. Like that was like literally like the face I made. I was like, oh, and but we're rushing, right? So I couldn't be like, who was that, right? So I just kept running. But even the convention, I'm not joking. I am so serious. The convention was giving out these little tiny bottles of like spray that literally was called anti-stink spray. It had the mascot on it. It had everything. It had the smell on it. It was lavender water. It smelled really good, and they were giving them out for free. They were like tiny little vials, but they were for free. And I was like, no fucking way the convention is selling this, right? And we're talking to some of the convention staff about it. We're like, are you guys actually selling this to people? And they're like, no, we're not selling. We're just giving it out. And I was like, well, has anyone like needed it? And some people were like, oh yeah, like some people definitely need it. And one of the girls we're talking to, she had even said that there was a guy who's passing out business cards for deodorant, like around to everyone. And I was like, oh my God, like it was just bad. Like there were some people who just did not smell well at all. And I guess you can almost expect it because like it is a convention that's made for the virtual community. You know, there are virtual people. Of course, it's going to be people who like probably do stay at home a good amount. Like, you know, like no hate to anyone who actually does stay at home, especially like people who have like mental either like disorders or they have like anything going on, right? Like depression, anxiety, social anxiety, like that sort of thing, right? Like I get it, but it also like you shouldn't be going out, you know, if your hygiene isn't well, if you know what I mean. Like, and so it was just so I kind of like expected it almost, because I'm just like, okay, well yeah, like it's a virtual community. A lot of it's through like online, through Twitch, like stuff like that. Like a lot of people like really just don't go out, you know. It was just they just I don't know how else to excuse that. Like some of them just did not smell. Stay at home stinky. Yeah. my friend. No, I can't get canceled. Not again. No, I'm just kidding. No, not again. But my friend literally was like, do you think it's bad if we like sneakily like spray people with this? And I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. And it was bad. I think, like I said, it's my first convention I've ever gone to where that's been like a genuine like issue. But on the same note too, there's enough people who are like, okay, like it's just a small group of people who are like this, right? We even talked to this one guy who like was going around interviewing people, and we had talked to this guy a few times before. But it was only on the last day where he was like, oh yeah, and I've been like trying to interview people on my channel. He like talked to us about like how like some stinky people have been and like gross and stuff like that. So like I was glad that it wasn't just an us experience, like it was other people too. But yeah, and what made it kind of worse was like there were so many times where like I went to a panel and like I was like one of the very few girls there, like and I know that the VTuber scene has a lot of like female like talents and everything, a lot of female like streamers, so of course it's gonna attract a lot of like of a male audience, right? But there's so many panels, there's so many things that I ended up going to where the majority of people who were there were men, and I was just like, where's all the girls? Like surprising. Okay, the one thing that did surprise me was I did think that I was gonna see a lot more like women at the like Betel Gavis and Altair like panel that they had, and I thought I was gonna see like a lot of women there, but I saw a lot of men, and surprisingly a lot of them were like like into them. And I don't know, I just wasn't expecting that. Like the Battle fan base and like Hollow Stars in general, like, is I think full of a lot of women. So it just kind of surprised me to see like, oh, there's a lot of guys here. Um, but no, yeah, like in general, there was just a ton of guys like at the con. Like we went to we went to like, don't judge me for this, but we went to a hentai voice acting like night kind of thing, right? For fun, because we just wanted to see like what it was about, like what was going on, right? And it was hosted by like these two VTubers, and they advertised it as like as a comedy like thing, like, oh, we're just gonna like make people laugh and stuff like that, right? And so we were there, and for the most part, most people did get the joke. Like, and there was a couple women there. It was like me and like two other girls, I think they were there in that room. It was like probably about 50 something guys just in there. Um, and um and most of the guys got it of like, oh, it's a comedy, you're supposed to make it funny. It was like improv, because they asked for a lot of like crowd participation. um and but there was like one guy who went up there, and this one guy who went up there just made things awkward. Like, he just kept going like, oh yeah, like, and he kept saying like the most vulgar things, and the punchline just never came. Like, he just kept saying, he was acting like if this was like he was voice acting like real like stuff, like real, lewd stuff. And I think eventually he kind of got the hint that like, oh, this is supposed to be like a comedy night, but it was already too late for him. Like, he just kept saying like, like things, and it just wasn't funny, and the it was bad. So I was like kind of thinking like, I wonder if some of these guys like have a trouble just like separating fantasy from like not real life per se, but like, because this was like a comedy thing, and he was not taking it like a comedy thing, he was taking like a real thing. So I'm like, do some guys really just have a problem? Like, they just can't distinguish like sexual things from like haha things kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just like an awkward thing for everyone. I think a lot of people kind of were like, okay, cool, right? There's just like a lot of guys that are at offkai. And I mean, like, thankfully there was still like a decent amount of girls where I was like, okay, this is like okay at least. But there were some panels where I was just like surrounded by like just like guys, and I was like, oh my god, it's like a sausage fest for me. And me and my friend, we didn't want to go into any of the parties either, because like I think for each line I saw for different parties, maybe I want to say like maybe only like 2 parties that we saw had like a girl on the line, and like, I mean, like 1 or 2 girls. Everyone else was like guys, and we just kind of felt uncomfortable because we're like, oh, we don't really feel like it'd be like a safe enough space for us to go and everything. Like, we passed by this one room who had no girls in their line to get in, and we were just walking around the halls too. We just wanted to see like what hotel parties there were at the time, and this guy kind of like stops us, and he goes, hey, are you guys here for the whatever party? And I was like, oh no, we're just walking around. And he's like, well, you could be here for this party if you wanted to. And I was like, oh no, I'll think about it, right? And it just felt kind of pushy. And I was like, I wonder if they're being pushy because there's like literally no guys in their line. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any like girls on the inside. And it just felt like it just felt very slightly uncomfortable. But I'm glad that was with my friend. My friend was a guy, so I did feel like protected being around them and everything, because I just felt like, okay, I'm fine. No matter what happens, I'm fine with someone, right? But yeah, those are like kind of some of the cons, or cons, no pun intended. That's some of the cons they were at the convention. But there was a lot of upsides too. Like, a lot of people were still really friendly. We were afraid, because last year when we went to the convention, there's a lot of really friendly people, and we're afraid that since the convention's getting bigger, a lot of people are going to be a lot more like less friendly or like standoffish. But thankfully, like a majority of the people we met were very like nice. They were very like just like polite to us and everything. We had this one guy who literally just like, we were like sitting on some like steps just to kind of relax for a little bit, and he just walks up to us and being like, oh man, that vendor line, huh? And we're like, we know, it's so crazy. And we just instantly got into a conversation with him. And he felt, this guy, I don't know what it was about him, but he had like such amazing vibes. It really felt like I could just tell this guy anything. Like we just felt like we were friends off the bat kind of vibe. So he was really cool to talk to. And we just had a lot of people like that we're able to like freely interact with. Like we had a lot of jokes. We, and we like were able to like, have casual good conversations. We ended up talking to a lot of vendors too. And I don't know, we just got caught up in a lot of conversations with like the vendors, and the vendors were really cool and nice. There was one person cosplaying as Yusan from the WWE stream that happened recently with Bettle, and it was just super funny. Like that person was just talking about how they went to the Bettle meet and greet with that like cosplay on, and he was like, "You again," So there's a lot of like little like fun gags and everything that happened too. But yeah, so I think overall I had a good time at the convention. It was pretty fun. I I know that I think eventually they're gonna get too big, in the sense of like, of course, as like the VTubing community gets like bigger, right? There's gonna be like more and more people who become fans who want to get in on it, like businesses, that sort of thing, right? So I feel like next year they're gonna move to like a bigger location, and I have heard rumors that they're gonna like try to get this upcoming year at like one of the bigger convention centers that are in the area. I kind of hope that does happen, because then like at least I'll have like better like size capacity for everyone, because I think for sure this year they sold way too many badges. Like the lines were just very long to get into some places. Even, oh my god, so me and my friend wanted to get into it, but we decided not to in the end. We wanted to go into the night market, which pretty much sells a lot of like 18 plus like stuff, right? And we just wanted to see what was in it, because last year they didn't have it, but the first year I went to offkai they did. And I just like wandered in, and I was like, oh cool, like it's just all this art, right? And so we wanted to see like how it was on the inside. And I think we showed up like maybe 30 minutes before they opened. It was like a 10 p or it was like a 9:30, and they opened at 10. And we got in, and there was like at least maybe like 200 people in line. It was a super crazy long line, and they cut the line short, and they were like, yeah, most likely only 100 people are getting in. So if you're not within the first 100 people, you're not getting in. And we were for sure not within the first 100 people. So we ended up kind of like getting onto like one of the balcony areas that were at the convention, and we just had like people watch for a bit, and we just were amazed about how many people were trying to get into this night market, and like how many people in general there were. So it was just crazy, because like the lines were kind of long. There's a lot of people everywhere, and I don't know, it was wild. So hopefully they do get like a bigger venue, because I think it would benefit them a lot. But yeah, so that's kind of how offkai was for me for the most part. I had a lot of fun. It was nice to kind of get away from work, and like to meet new people and everything. I was like kind of nervous showing up, because I was just like, oh my god, it's gonna be my first year as like a VTuber, and I'm going to like a VTuber convention, and I don't know, I was a little nervous, right? But it ended up being pretty fun in the end. Had a lot of good memories I made. Trying to think what else. Oh, I do have, in case anyone wants to see them, I do have a lot of pictures of, or maybe not a lot, but I do have a decent amount of pictures of like some of the keyboards I saw at the keyboard meet. Some people have crazy keyboards. Like this one guy had a keyboard that literally reminded me of like a typewriter, like kind of like original PC kind of like keyboard. Like it felt so like old, if that made sense. It literally looked like the first keyboard ever made, and it just looked really cool, right? Some other people like hooked up like a screen on there, so then we could do like a typing test. And I don't know, some people just had really beautiful keyboards. Like I wish I could take a picture of all of the keyboards, but I didn't want to like fill up my phone too much. But there were some really amazing keyboards. And the cool thing with the keyboard meet is that you're able to like write down your specifications. So there was like some keyboards I saw where I was like, okay, like this one looks really cool, and all that stuff. So then, like I can go home and like buy the switches and everything if I wanted to. But But yeah, it was really, really cool being in there. Oh my god, my cat scared me. My cat like jumped in front of my PC. But yeah, there's a lot of cool cosplayers were there too. There's a lot of really good artists and vendors there. I think in general the convention was really fun. I'm used to going to anime conventions where you just get merch for like your anime character you're really into and stuff like that. And there's a lot less like, I think the difference between an anime convention and like a VTuber convention is that the interactions are different. Oh my god, my cat's all over my desk, sorry. The interactions are very different. So like at anime convention, there's not like, it's not like Gojo's fucking there being like, oh hi guys, right? Like it's just usually merch you buy of him or whatever it is, right? And like maybe they'll screen like an episode here and there or whatever it is, right? But like at a VTuber convention, it's like the VTuber is there sometimes, whether they're like indie or like a big one, like corporate, whatever it is, right? There's like a VTuber kind of always roaming around and you can like actually interact with them. So it's just kind of cool, like seeing people, getting to meet them. I got some merch from some VTubers as well. I ended up meeting, oh my god, I feel bad. I'm blanking on her name. But maybe I'll link her somewhere. I ended up meeting this one VTuber that I had seen around, but I just never like really got into her content just because I never got a chance to. And she was selling, well, she was part of, I think it's called Vyoshi or Oshi V. I'm forgetting the brand name too already. But they make merch for VTubers, and we just kind of got into conversation about like, oh, what it means to be a VTuber, like how to get into it, like having the motivation to stream and all that kind of stuff, right? And she was really cool, nice about a lot of things, and you know, it's kind of like I actually like networked with her a little bit because I was just like, oh well, like how do you get this kind of merch, or how expensive is it to get like an acrylic stand or whatever it is, right? And you know, she kind of like talked me through like some things, but it was just kind of cool, like interacting with like VTubers I see, like I've seen her on Twitter, right, but I've never talked to, so it's kind of cool that like, oh, like I'm not talking to you through online, I'm talking to you like in person, even though it's like a virtual medium. And it's kind of cool. I don't know, like maybe it's because I'm really into VTubers, but I really did enjoy like interacting with everyone and meeting people. But yeah, I don't know, that's just how it was. My thumbnail is, I was trying to recreate like how it would look like if I had, like if I was invited to offkai, but I put attendee there. Yeah, I hope that one day I do get invited to offkai. I think that'd be cool, but I don't know. I know that if I don't stream consistently, it's not gonna happen. But I'm also trying not to like beat myself up too much. I'm not like, oh my god, I can't believe I don't have followers. Like I haven't streamed in like 3 or 4 weeks and I don't get a follower. Wow. Like I'm not, I don't feel like that. You know, I like understand like, oh, I haven't streamed in a little bit, so I'm not gonna get like any followers consistently or anything. But kind of after going to the con, I kind of feel like, okay, I have the motivation again. I have the feeling of you know, working hard as a VTuber and everything. But yeah, work is just hard. Work is like tiring. So sometimes I come home and I literally just want to fall asleep. Like I'm at a computer all day and I'm just reading like things on like the computer like all day, like medical records and emails and other things. I got that dog in me. they euthanized the dog in me. No, just kidding. I have to find that meme. But yeah, so I don't know, being at the con kind of really motivated me, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do it, I gotta stream, I gotta get into it, you know, I gotta get into the grind, and I want to commission more artists to draw like my model or draw like art for my model, but commissions are so expensive, so I have to like save money, and I low-key like dropped a lot of money at the convention. Like I really did kind of just go in blind. I was like, okay, well, whatever happens, you know, it's fine, like I get paid at least. I'll get another paycheck soon, you know. But at one point I was really like, okay, it's just gonna go on my card. Like my card is gonna pay for this. But yeah, so by but I highly recommend it if you guys ever get a chance to go to offkai. It's really fun. um I feel like, at least I hope that they like their next year is in another venue, because I think if it is in a different venue, it'd be a lot better for like foot traffic and everything. um but yeah, that's pretty much about it, I think. And this is the little town I've built so far, a little Townscraper. I love zooming in on this game because then like you get to see all the small details, like all the cute little benches. I know they can't, because I think that's gonna be a little too much detail, but I wish there was like people that would walk around as you build. Because I love, there's like little, let me see if I can find it. There's like some homes they'll have little boots like on the outside of their doors, and I just think that's so cute. Like, oh, like it just shows that someone's like living there, and I just think it's so adorable. Like, let me see if I can find. Oh, like this home right here has a, oops, two. There we go. This little home has like these little boots that are just sitting outside their door, and it's so cute. Like, I don't know. I really love this game. This game's like adorable. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with this game too. Like I'm trying to find like something cool. Like you can make little like I don't know, just little things will pop up depending on how you make your home and everything. Oops, not that. Like they have little like clothing lines here for the neighbors and stuff. There's also things of like, oh, if you make like a circle, for example, so I'll make a circle here real quick. So yeah, like if you make like a closed circle, let me see if I can like zoom in on it. It has little outdoors, a little grass and everything with butterflies, little garden, which is super cute. Some little plants. I love that the plants move. Little boots on the outside. I love this game. But yeah, I think I will head off for today because I have to work tomorrow, and I'm making, okay, so my, real quick before I do go, my job made me in charge of like the monthly meetings now. So like, yes, or today, like last minute, my last few hours of work, I was like real quick making this PowerPoint of like the monthly meetings, and I was like asking all the departments like, oh, does this look fine? Any information you want me to add? Like stuff like that. So I hope tomorrow, I'm crossing my fingers, like I know what to say, I don't mess up. I'll be in front of like not the whole company, but a good portion of the company. So yeah, so I really hope that like it's all okay and no one laughs at me or anything. Let me just make this a little cuter or something real quick. That's cute, right? That has stability, support. There we go, that's probably supporting. Um yeah, so this is a little town I've built so far. Trying to think what else. Okay. Well, I will be heading off for the night. Thank you everyone for watching my stream, and hopefully I'll catch everyone soon. I'll try to stream tomorrow maybe. If I do stream tomorrow, I might stream like Jurassic World Evolution or something, Evolution 2. Just I love dinosaurs. You know, dinosaurs are so cool, especially the Ankylosaurus, the best dinosaur. But all right. Well, thank you everyone though. Have a good rest of your night and hope everything goes well for you guys. All right. Bye-bye. Good night.